Finance for the everyday millennial. Hard-charging solutions. We provide an accelerant in the journey towards financial independence. Welcome to Cassian with Cassian, the financial forum for young professionals. Today we're going to be talking about, you guessed it, finance with my friend Dr. Macy McNair. If you've ever wondered what it's like in the day in the life of a physician, you're about to find out. After graduating from Georgia Southern University Armstrong campus with a Bachelor's of Science in Chemistry and a minor in African American Studies, and then from Morehouse School of Medicine, she decided to serve as an assistant professor in the Department of Family Medicine at her alma mater, Morehouse, while simultaneously serving at Grady East Point Clinic. The thoughts, comments, and opinions that Dr. Macy McNair is about to express do not reflect the opinions of Morehouse or Grady Clinic and are the sole responsibility of Macy. Also, nothing discussed today should be taken as personalized financial advice. Thank you for joining us, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I am well, thank you for asking. You know, this time of year is an awesome time of year. We just finished Thanksgiving, ate all that good food, talked to people that we haven't talked to in a long time, and made sure not to engage in any new family disputes. So I think if that's how everybody's Thanksgiving went, then it was a successful Thanksgiving. And we're moving into Christmas. So
We also have the best month, which is December.
Is that your birthday month?
Absolutely.
I'm tired of y'all. Are you a Sagittarius or
What do you think? What do you think?
Honestly, Sagittarius is like, it's super up there in terms of like ostentatiousness, so I'm gonna go with Sagittarius.
No,
You're a Capricorn?
I'm a cat.
What? Are you serious?
We started in the year. We're the best sign. Absolutely.
Honestly, my favorite sign is Capricorn. No lie. I knew I liked it for a reason.
Capricorn. I know this is your show, but I mean, how do you feel about all these people saying that Black Friday didn't Black Friday like it used to?
Well, Black Friday, I mean, honestly, yeah, but that's probably for good reason, right? Because when we used to do Black Friday, we were throwing elbows, right? It wasn't Black Friday unless you had a strategy on where,
Unless you got a black.
yeah, like you were pushing, like Black Friday used to be like the purge, where one day a year it was okay to snatch things out of old people's hands, kids'
I
hands,
know.
throw elbows. It was insane. Great time. But you know, honestly, with the invent of Cyber Monday, I think we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun as a kid, like running down the aisle when you're not allowed to any other time of year, but that time of year it was perfectly acceptable. But now it's like, folks were getting hurt. Let's call it.
Right.
Let's go ahead and progress and get
my basket to be good.
Exactly. And that's normal. But yeah, thank you for that question. The next question that I have for you is kind of walk us through what your day-to-day looks like. As soon as you get to work, what is Dr. McNair doing?
Okay, so the first thing I do when I get to work, I work Monday through Friday. Wednesday is my half day, but the morning half I see patients. The afternoon is my administrative time. So I'm either responding to stuff or I'm going to the family medicine residency didactics. Sometimes just listen in, or I may have meetings. A lot of times, sometimes it's just meetings. But most times my first patient could be scheduled as early as 7:40. I have 20-minute slots. I can see up to 21 patients. There is a double book in there. My last patient is scheduled at 3:20. When I first get there in the morning time, if I don't have a patient there, after like wiping down my office area, even though I'm one in there, I am logging in, responding to labs that came back, because most of our labs come back within one day. So I'm calling patients. So if you just saw me, please answer your phone, because I am going to be on your line, and these are your lab results. Either we need to do this or we don't need to do that. I also put their lab results on my chart, but I have this thing of, even though their stuff may be pretty simple, like this was negative, this is controlled, not controlled, we're going to do this. After everything comes back, I always call my patient because people, they don't know what they don't know. And you may see like a red here or arrow there, and we're not worried about it, but they may be like, "Oh, what does it mean?" So, and then we just getting ready to see patients in and out of room, telling them to come back 2 weeks for blood pressure check because they would decide to smoke or have bacon that morning. Uh, Having a good time. It's a lot of good times in those jobs. So, uh,
Yeah.
and then I go home, finish my notes. I try to finish all my notes before I leave. I do not like taking stuff home. And so,
So, okay, so you have a 20-minute interval where you're actually seeing patients 20 minutes at a time, and then you're moving folks through. And in the afternoon, you're doing those administrative tasks.
just
So,
one out. But every other day is full day.
oh, okay. So you're catching up on all the notes from that week or so. You're looking at all the labs and stuff daily, but then you're also doing the notes on that administrative day, or you're doing the notes right after you've seen the patient. So within that 20-minute
Oh
window.
yeah. So like if you were to come see me, then in the room, I will log into the computer and I'll be doing your note while we're talking. And then I sign notes the same day. So I complete all my notes the same day, unless like today, for example, I have a patient I have to complete paperwork for. So I know I need to add a couple extra stuff into her chart, but I knew I need to come on because I want to cook. I want to do a couple extra things. So I already signed her note for today, but I just took that note home to finish. And but for those, I signed all my notes the same day.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to get back to the professional side of things, but we're going to jump right into the personal finance side, as this is a personal finance show. So
Mhm.
the first question we've got on personal finance is what has your personal financial education looked like?
So for me, so it depends on the stage. I can't really remember too much about undergrad, but thinking about through med school, we have like a financial aid kind of like counselor in a sense that we had to have like debt counseling with. Because of course, going to med school, everyone knows we take on a lot of debt. Before you graduate, you have to sit down with her, go through what your profile looks like, how much, um, what that is going to be. Then at the end, like our fourth year, we had a session with, I think it's Doctors Without Borders. I always want to say borders, but it's Doctors Without Borders. They're a group who kind of specialize in like student loan debt. I don't think they did too much other stuff, but I end up signing up to be with them. I ended it, like maybe my third year of residency because it was more specialized towards student loans and I wanted a more comprehensive package. Um, and then, of course, throughout residency, a lot of student loan payments have been nothing, unless you were just paying on your own. So their messages were kind of the same. We also had another guy come in and talk to us about just like a financial advising, but that was just like if you wanted to go to it. So I went to that. Throughout residency, we had somebody come and talk to us. Um, and yeah.
Okay, that's actually a little bit better than what I thought. I did like the fact that you do have a program that tackles what I consider to be one of the biggest pain points for folks in your profession, which is that massive student loan debt that you guys have to.
Mm-hmm.
And people are usually like, yeah, but they also have these massive salaries. Got it. But one, I don't know if the size of the salary is proportional to the amount of debt that they just took out. A doctor could still find themselves living on beans and rice and beans for a minute as they knock out those student loans. And
Mm-hmm.
even if they were to continue on with their education and specialize and make like ridiculous amounts of money, they've also probably just incurred ridiculous amounts of debt as well. And so it makes sense that the program specialized on debt. However, I like where your mind was at when you were like, I want something more holistic. It's not just about student loans. At some point, Dr. McNair wants to retire.
Yes.
What are my retirement options looking like? As you start to seek employment, what types of questions should you be asking HR in terms of employee benefits? Are you going to have an HSA that you can contribute to? Is there a matching contribution from the employer? If the employer does have a 401k or a 403b in your profession, what is the typical match from an employer industry standard wise? Is that varying state by state? And what can I expect from that standpoint? And then you've got some other stuff that you have to consider, right? Like estate planning. As you acquire assets, you want to protect those things, and you want to make sure that those things are controlled properly with good estate planning. You are definitely going to need tax planning, because in your field, you could become a contractor or you could become an employee, right? You could contract your services out to a hospital, or you can become an employee. So which one of those is better for you and why? There are a lot of questions that need to be answered in your profession that probably answered in that program. So I guess my question is, were you able to find someone that can provide that holistic approach that you're looking for? Are you still looking for somebody? Have you talked to anybody about all the other things that come with your personal financial situation? Or
Yeah, so I did find someone, but look, dang, I can't believe I forgot. So we actually also had a course in our last year of residency. Anyone that's graduating from residency in Morehouse and the graduate medical education programs, we have a business and medicine like curriculum. It's like once a month, I want to say, that we like everyone that's in there last year, you have to go to this course. There's a book that a doctor wrote because basically it's about a story about her. She broke her leg or something. Basically, she ended up having to go out on disability through medicine, and she wasn't prepared for it. And it was just like having all those things set up. So she talked about basically setting up your team. So I do have a financial advisor who I feel like gives me a good overview of all the things from when I was in my third year residency up until preparing for starting to now. But I just have one person. And from that course, it's like I need to have people on my team. And so I've been slacking on getting the people.
so ordinarily, not so shameless plug because this is my show. As a financial planner, we have the team, and then the client only has us as the single point of contact. So every single client absolutely needs a team. For estate planning, you have to have an attorney that specializes in estate planning. For tax planning, you should have a CPA that knows how to handle the tax returns of the clientele that the financial planner primarily deals in. So a CPA that deals with folks that invest in rental properties, that CPA is going to have a much different skill set than a CPA that deals primarily with physicians, or a CPA that deals with people who are like general contractors, or people who are in sales, because their income fluctuates and they are able to take different types of deductions just based on kind of the occupation of the profession. So the planner should be putting the team together, and then the client should just have the planner as a single point. I wonder, in your situation, what the financial advisor is doing primarily outside of helping you with investments and retirement.
So for me, it was like the budget. It was thinking about retirement, and then with retirement, it was also thinking about like disability, different insurance, life insurance, and so that's where we've been. That's where we've kind of started it.
Budget. As a part of retirement, I'm assuming they're talking to you about investments for retirement, so there's some investments in there.
Yeah, because I actually work through, well, you mentioned it, but working through Morehouse. And so like I have the 403B.
Yep. Okay. And then proper insurance planning, disability insurance, life insurance, health insurance, all the different insurance. So as a part of your team, then you're missing that tax planning part, and then you're missing, really you don't need anyone on your team for this. You just need a go-to person to establish your trust. You probably have an advanced medical directive and stuff like that belong in the estate plan. So, all things considered, that's not bad, but yeah, there is that gap there in tax planning. You need to find a good CPA that is used to filing returns for people in your profession. So that's good. Okay, thank you for sharing that. The next question that I have, Do you think your profession's kind of is actually significantly different because you guys have built in, whereas most professions, um, the level of education that they receive stops at undergrad, like a bachelor's of science in nursing. So they may not be getting any type of course geared toward helping them as soon as they get that BSN and then enter the workforce. Same with engineers. Attorneys, it depends on the program that they go to. They may not have a course. Some do have a course to assist them with their student loan debt, as well as take
Yeah.
approach. But
Well, I don't know if everyone has it. I know Morehouse did, but I don't know if everyone has it. Yeah.
I'm sure they don't. But I tend to think that the entire field is moving in that direction because
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like the entire field is trying to move to eliminate just the high debt that people take in general in medicine, which is a benefit for them, but it kind of sucks for people that had to take it on because nobody wants to, like, the push is to try to push you to go to the areas that need physicians the most, which is great, but you can't entice people that are coming out of like medical school to go to these areas that need physicians with saying, I'll pay off your student loans because they don't have it.
that's a good point. That's a very good point. So you're just gonna have to entice them with better pay.
Exactly. And so,
There's
yeah,
gonna there's probably gonna be some sort of a government program that subsidizes the provider so that they can pay the physicians more money to work in those underserved
yeah.
areas.
Because a lot of people don't want to do the public. I mean, not that they don't want to do it, but you know, to do the public service loan forgiveness and to even, well, there's been changes, but to kind of stick with that for so long, that takes a lot of energy for 10 years. And so, I mean, for me, I did the other part was like I applied for the National Health Service Corps, which pays off 120,000 of my student loans. But I knew that I wanted to serve the population that I'm serving, which is underserved. So that's why I'm also at Grady. So it benefited me because it was also a population I trained with. But working through academic, you get paid a little less.
What was the name of the program?
It's the National Health Service Corps. And so
Nice.
it's like the student to service loan repayment program. They have different forms of it. Like you can do it when you start medicine and then they'll give you like a stipend throughout. I wasn't that committed in the beginning because I was like, what if I change my mind? And now, like, but fourth year, I was like, let me apply, let me see. And once I matched, they told me I got it. And so, yeah. And I have to do 3 years of service and you can renew it too and get more money towards your student loan.
That's awesome. That is really cool. You also mentioned that you had to take a slight hit on the salary side in order for them to pay off those student loans. But I mean, after you do the math, that's probably more beneficial because even if you were to have a higher salary, that money was going to go toward the student loans anyway.
Was more slight hit with going through academic medicine
Mhm.
instead of like going into like just like working at a hospital. So it's like to have teachers, like so since it's just a teaching facility in a sense.
That's cool. It's really cool that programs like that exist. Absolutely necessary. One day, hopefully, they won't need to be necessary because we won't send our awesome folks that are going to medical school into so much debt.
Right.
Um, all right. Next question that I have for you. Um, what do you most look forward to? What do you most and least look forward to about your job? So a lot of people can easily identify the things that they do not like to do, right?
Mhm.
I like to ask everybody, what do they most look forward to and what do they least look forward to about their job?
I would say what I most look forward to is actually continuity care. So seeing people that I've seen before, they are familiar with me. They know what I'm gonna say. They know they know what they should know, and I put it in their note also. Um, and they when we can celebrate, the wins, or they already know what they need to change. And so, like, I had a patient who I mean, it's usually like a lot of times people think like, oh, family medicine is just like blood pressure and diabetes. I wish it was just that because that's the easy stuff. It's a lot of pain. A lot of people in a lot of pain nowadays. But when they come back and they actually listen to the stuff you tell them, and then they come in, I make sure I tell them their goal. I put it on their after visit summary. So it's just like your goal blood pressure. Every time you get your blood pressure, it needs to be less than this. And they come back, they see it before I see it. And I come in the room and I'm like, what you think about this number? It looked good to me. And that's the visit. But it's like, they know. So now it's like, I'm requiring them to be in charge of their health because I'm giving you the information, but it's your body. What I do not like in the same sense is people that have that disconnected health, paperwork. I do not like paperwork. I didn't like it as a resident, do not like it as an attending. Of course, we tell people we have a 14-day turnaround, but everyone always has this urgent paper that got to be filled out the next day that they had in their box. And so I don't like it. I don't like it. It gets on. I do not like paperwork. And they I don't know. Actually, I just said it to one of my colleagues, one of my friends, because she's finishing up residency. But I was just like, I don't know. I don't think people got enough letters sent home when they was in grade school because they come to the doctor and they just say, we're supposed to write letters all day. Like, like, dang, I need the doctor to write a letter about this and the third. It's like, that's not an appropriate letter. Like, nobody cares. Like, it's like if the doctor says, it's like the doctor is the president in the sense of sending it to someone. Like, I'm going to just get this letter from my doctor. Like, the doctors know it's going to lose its if we start writing it for everything. So stop telling your doctor to write all these notes. You don't need them. You talk to the person.
I will say that has been a common theme among every profession. They love doing whatever it is they do. The engineer loves doing the math. They love the meetings. They don't care too much for the administrative tasks of documenting everything. So, yeah, for all the Gen Zers currently still in school, get used to it. There's going to be an administrative portion to most of the things that you do. Most of the professions require it. So just, I don't know, find some sort of a way to hunt the good stuff as you go through that part of the job that you don't care for. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Now I'm going to hit you with some data and some statistics.
Okay.
So according to salary.com, the average salary for a physician, general practitioner is somewhere around $217,890 a year. And the median average student loan debt, including undergraduate debt, is between $200,000 and $250,000, according to educationdata.org. Do these numbers resonate with you at all? And did you know stats like this before you decided to go down the medical path?
They're somewhat close, like pretty close. The debt is a little higher. My undergrad debt wasn't as bad when I went back and looked at it, but I also had scholarships and stuff. Med school was high though. I mean, Morehouse is private HBCU, so when dodging that. Did I know the stats of how much it costs? I want to say no, I don't think so. And so, honestly, bless you. My journey to med school was very different, I think. Not too different, but I didn't know what I didn't know. I learned about the MCAT right before, like the summer before applying to med school.
What? So you're saying you didn't know at age 8 that you were going to be Dr. McNair?
You said what?
You didn't know at age 8 that you were going to be Dr. McNair?
Supposedly when I was young, I said I was going to be a doctor. And so, I mean, I still was accurate. I just didn't know that there was this exam called the MCAT that I had to take until I took this student educational enrichment program it's called SEAT. That's the acronym for it. MCG in Augusta over the summertime. And it was just like, here's this prep course, Kaplan. I was like, MCAT. Oh, this costs money. Oh, okay. And that's how they start getting you. the stuff to be a doctor, it costs money. Like that was the beginning of the test. All that stuff costs money. Board exams, your license, like the United States medical licensing exams. That ain't no $100 exam. $1,000. Yeah, my board exam costs $1,300.
Oh my goodness.
You're not getting paid doctor money.
We're gonna do a segment on how much it costs to just become a doctor, and it's gonna be all encompassing, all the licensing exams.
No, you really should do a segment on that. People think, oh, you get paid. Yeah, you probably still got a loan to pay for those exams.
Holy cow. Okay. Yeah, that's information that I think people need to know. You mentioned that you got a lot of scholarships in undergrad. What types of scholarships are we talking about there? And how did you look for scholarships for grad school, if at all?
So I got Hope, but when I started, they of course changed like how much you get, as always. Even though all these people playing the lottery, so I don't know how, but I ain't gonna get into that. And then I got some other scholarships as I went on. So that was just like based on academics. Now in med school, I got a scholarship to go to Morehouse, like when I got accepted. So I think it was like 17,000, I want to say, which in the grand scheme is not much. But also I think I just applied for something and I ended up getting it's the Ty Cobb scholarship. That was like a baseball player. But I still got it. I got it every year. It's $3,000. And so thank you. I also got the George and Pearl, I want to say Ann Strickland scholarship in Morehouse. Like it was just different like scholarships. And so yeah. There probably was another one, but yeah.
For those not familiar with the Hope Scholarship, that's a scholarship offered to folks in Georgia after they've achieved a certain GPA in high school. And as long as you maintain that GPA, you get to maintain Hope all the way through undergrad. I went to high school in California, and so I wasn't eligible for Hope.
That's what it is. You're from Cali.
Yeah. I've renounced all my California ways, so don't worry about that. I'm a proud Georgian. I have a Georgia cell phone number, and I pay Georgia taxes. So there you go. What was that GPA to get Hope? And then there was like Zell Miller on top of that, right?
That was, yeah. So I think, was it 3.5? I want to say maybe 3.5, maybe. So for me, I also lost out on some scholarships because I was cheated out of being number 2 in high school. And so that's also what pushed me to go towards being a doctor.
You hear that, folks? She was cheated out of number 2. All right. So, but she doesn't feel any type of way about it, as you can see. All right, cool.
But there are scholarships within, valedictorian and salutatorian.
Yeah.
So money. It's money for being smart. So don't be up here being dumb for fun. You don't get money for that. Unless you're a comedian.
I mean, a good comedian, because...
A good one. Am I?
Yeah. But all right. Do you keep dreaming about when you'll be able to pursue your passions? It can be challenging to turn that dream into reality while providing quality care to your patients, addressing your student loans, and living a comfortable life. I'm Cassian Nunez, the CEO of Rhino Invest, and I'm here to share a better way, the Rhino way, which will make you financially independent sooner so that you can start to do more of what you are actually passionate about. Just to be clear, financial independence is achieved when your passive income exceeds your expenses, freeing you to pursue your passions, be it the ER job you love, helping your community through volunteer work, or becoming a world traveler. In other words, you are no longer trading your time for money to keep food on the table and pay your bills. So, what is the Rhino Way? It is the roadmap to achieving financial independence using the 4 guideposts of real education, investments in performing assets, no bad debt, and oversight of those assets. Our Rhino account provides products and services as a pathway to achieving your goals at a pace you set and in an environment with other like-minded people, all focused on lighting a fire in their financial plan. Becoming a Rhino will increase your financial IQ by making you familiar with the concept of risk and return, the different asset classes available for investment, and how you can take advantage of those options immediately. You'll have access to curated courses, online calculators, wealth guides, checklists, and your own net worth tracker. All this and more with your Rhino account. So I invite you to take the first step towards realizing your goals by opening an account today. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to working with you. Next question. What has been the most traumatic experience that you've had with money?
I'm usually, when I can't think of anything, I think of the first thing that comes to mind. So I'm probably going to say most recently I've had like fraud on my account of like $500 most recently, like in the past week.
$500 on your checking account, or
Yeah.
what? Somebody got access to your checking account?
Yeah, I think it was when I went to a fast food restaurant in the West End. So they're currently investigating, so they haven't given me my money back. So it's just been annoying in the fact of like, you have to wait for it to post where you can report it, and then they have to do the investigation. Meanwhile, this person got some Comcast services, and I'm just like,
so
take it all back.
Thank you for bringing this up, because this allows us an opportunity to kind of talk about the importance of a credit card and how if the money is stolen, it wasn't your money that was stolen. And it's a lot easier to go through the process of getting charges that don't belong to you removed when you compare it to charges that are directly linked to your checking account. I've talked about this before. It's the reason why I don't use debit cards. Even to pull money out of the ATM, I use a credit card for that as well. So I keep all of my debit cards at home. From time to time, I have to use them for certain sites that don't accept credit cards, but more often than not, I'm constantly transacting with credit cards for that extra layer of protection. Because yeah, when folks get access to that checking account, the victim is the one that's blamed. Because now you got to wait for that thing to post, then you got to go through the entire investigative process to get your money back, but your bills are still due when they're due. And so...
how did that work? What do you mean it's better for it? Because how did they not get it through the credit card?
The money's not yours anyway. You'll just tell the credit card company, I don't owe this money, right? And you're usually, a majority of your bills, like rent and a lot of other things, are paid directly from your checking, not from a credit card.
Oh, no. Okay.
Like that, right? So, yeah.
The other thing was the account they took it from. The account I don't even pay bills on. So I was just like, get it. Like, give me my money.
Yeah. That was lucky, but I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But now, no, we don't hand out debit cards to people in the West End. I think that's what we learned here.
And though I want to go back and be like, girl, I know it's you. Give my money back. I want to.
I know it was you.
You only getting cash, and I know y'all don't got a pen, so you about to get these fake dollar bills.
I saw it in your eyes. Yeah, shifty eyes when I handed you.
Let me see the machine that you're using. Like, cash only. Cash only. Now you getting dirty cash. We only take $20 bills. What are you going to take this? That's all you getting.
Yep.
So we only take card. According to the law, you have to take my cash.
Okay. All right. Next question. We're going to dive into employee benefits.
Okay.
So what are some of the employee benefits enjoyed by folks in your industry that people thinking about joining may not be aware of, and how are you taking advantage of them?
Depending on what field you go into, regardless, you know a lot. But like for me as a family doc, I don't have like I know what's going on if I'm get sick.
Mhm. Okay.
Meanwhile, y'all Googling, y'all be like, "Oh, I'm dying." um, you do get paid. You get paid.
You're saying WebMD is not a reliable source?
It
What?
depends on it. It's not bad.
Actually, you have you telling me not to take medical advice from people on Facebook. Like, come on now.
Are you in one of those groups? Listen, you know what? That's the other thing that I don't like.
Oh, no.
Argue with people about Facebook groups. Don't be having me doing that. But you get compensated pretty well. You are very knowledgeable, and depending on what you like. For me, for my job, like my benefits, I get health insurance. Which being a doctor, not having health insurance, that's crazy. But depending on how you do medicine,
Mhm.
that may not be what you have. And so you have, I mean, for me, where I went to medical school, I have access to a lot of people that look like me that are doctors in different specialties. So I have a lot of people to refer to, depending on where they go and where they're at. So that's pretty cool. And I just have a lot of people to bounce ideas off of.
In terms of retirement plans, are your employers providing any type of match into the 403B and stuff like that?
We can contribute as residents at Morehouse. But when I started, they weren't matching. I feel like this is the first year they may have started matching for residents. I may be lying on that part, because I feel like the documents said they still weren't matching. But as a attending, they do contribute to the match. They do contribute to it, 7%.
7%. That is really nice. So that's free money. So I'm assuming the minimum amount that you're contributing is 7%.
Mass for most of that, yeah. I'm contributing.
But the minimum, see, I don't like the confidence in that answer. Yeah, shit.
Yeah, I'm doing 7%.
Okay, good. That's what I want to hear. To the audience out there, match is free money. You never want to leave free money on the table. So if your employer is offering X%, that is your floor. That is the minimum amount of money that you should be contributing to your retirement account. So that's awesome that you're contributing that 7%. And
Yeah, it comes out it's coming out tomorrow. I get my little thing. Yeah, it's on there.
yeah, you know, it's so important. People in our generation are starting to lose that delayed gratification.
Yes, everyone.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because we all get old, hopefully, and
Yeah,
at a certain point, you will not be able to trade your time for money. Nobody's going to want your time. Your time is no longer valuable. When you start forgetting things, you can't.
right. Get off base.
Yeah, folks are like, yeah, that. And you're going to need that money there to continue to take care of yourself. So, it's never too early to start thinking about becoming financially independent. The thing with retirement plans, you can't take the money out until you're at least 59 and a half, which is concerning for a whole host of reasons for people who are trying to retire earlier. Still, you want to have that nest egg there. You can use it as collateral for future plans. You can use it in a whole host of other ways besides just taking distributions. So cool. 7% is awesome. 7% is really good. Do you, going back to your health insurance plan, do you have a high deductible, high premium plan, which allows you to qualify for a health savings account? Or,
Now, so they just started doing the health savings account, like this most recent, like open enrollment. But I did I just kept it with the one I had previously, which is the high plan.
it had a lower deductible, those making you ineligible for HSA, or it still had a higher deductible?
I didn't opt in to do HSA.
Oh,
I, yeah. So it was either do the HSA or do like low deductible or high deductibles. I think I did I did the more expensive plan. I always do the more expensive plan that has like the lower copay.
so you have a higher premium, lower deductible.
maybe.
That's the more expensive plan, which would make you an HSA. Okay. Um,
But I have a SFSA, but I mean, I know it's not the same. Yeah.
Learning. So on that, I recommend that people take the higher deductible plan in order to take advantage of the health savings account because in young age, because you're relatively healthy in our age range, right? You don't really see the doctor as often as you probably would start to see the doctor in your 50s, 60s, 70s and onward. And for that reason, it's less likely that you're going to have to pay a deductible because it's less likely that you're going to have to go to the hospital. And when you have that HSA account, you're able to contribute to that. Sometimes employers contribute to it as well. So you have some free money opportunities there. And within that HSA account, you're able to invest the money and you're able to take it out once you are a little bit older, tax-free. You won't have to pay any type of penalty for using it for non-health related expenses. So the HSA is another like little bucket that you can use to contribute to a retirement if you end up not having any medical expenses to spend the money on. So it can be a very powerful tool. And if you're below the age 35 and you're healthy, right, and you have the option to take that high deductible plan and an HSA versus paying more for a more premium healthcare plan and not having the HSA, I would encourage you to do that. But everybody's situation is different because if you are going to the hospital a little bit more than the average 20 to 30-year-old, then you definitely want to make sure that you're fully insured and you're not constantly having to pay a deductible. All right. So thank you for that, Dr. McNair. Next question has to deal with barriers to entry. In your field, there are a lot. Kind of touched on it a little bit with all the different exams you have to take, all the different licenses. Then you got to go through residency, not to mention 4 years of medical school. Kind of talk us through all the different barriers after someone has completed undergraduate. What do they have to go through to become a doctor?
So we talked about the test. There's the MCAT, which is constantly changing. I mean, from when I took it, it was 2 numbers. Now it's 3 numbers. And it's longer. Not gonna get too much on that. If you don't have anyone in your family that's a doctor, that's a barrier. Shadowing, trying to actually get exposure. So that, getting letters of recommendation, trying to get an interview, that's a barrier. Having people that look like you, that's a huge barrier still, you know. Money. I mean, we're on the financial talk, but like having the money to apply to all these places, because it's not like how sometimes you see posts about certain schools waiving fees and stuff like that for you to apply. I feel like they may have had, maybe you could do like a waiver or something like that, but most times they're not, you know, you have to have money. You got to have money to apply to these schools. And even COVID made a lot of stuff virtual, but you don't have good technology, if you don't got internet. Well, I mean, most people have internet, but it's just like having the resources to be able to have a decent suit so you can interview. And again, most interviews are in person because, I mean, we're just in that time now. We're moving back. You got to get there. And so those are just some of the things that can kind of hinder someone from getting in.
I think that's common, right? The interview to get into the program. Like they want to know who it is and is this person going to be able to make it through our program? I'm assuming that's what they're looking for as they interview you guys. Like, hey, are you going to be able to make it and go the distance? Because we're about to put a lot of time and energy into you.
Yeah.
As well as once you do make it, are you going to act a fool? And then, we are your alma mater. So they're probably making sure that you're in good standing and a good Samaritan and stuff like that in the interview. Okay. Of all the different types of medicine that you could practice, why'd you choose to be a family doctor, and what was the close second?
All right. Honestly, there wasn't a close second. when you're a family doctor, you're a lot of doctors in one. It chose me. It's the specialty that fits who I am. I like talking to people. It's easy for me to talk to people. I am somewhat very nosy. Um, I mean, I put the somewhat in there, but actually, I really am very nosy. I like details also, and it's a specialty where if you are good at getting details from people, if people are they feel comfortable talking to you. Like a lot of people, they'll come in the room and they'll be talking about something, and then they'll start crying, and I'm handing them the tissue, and it's like, I don't know why I'm crying, and I'm just like, it's me, it's me. I'm the reason that you're crying because you feel that comfortable, and it's just like, it just sounded about, yeah, this is my job, and it's just like, I'm so sorry. This is my job. And so it fits who I am. I can talk to people how, not how I want to, no, not like that, but like in a way that they understand.
Yeah.
That they understand. So it's just like, I can fuss at you and be, like, what's going on? Like, let's get serious here. Like, don't come back in here with the same, and they recognize, and so we're good. But also I can take the time with certain patients, be like, okay, we can switch this around and do it like this. Um, and so it was the perfect feel for that. And if I want to do some prenatal, I could. I don't want to deliver because babies come at nighttime. And so not for me. I didn't really want to do surgery. Not for me. All the other stuff, just doing something for this, I get bored. So if I see the same thing over and over again, like even diabetes and high blood pressure is not the same. Um, repeat a lot of the same stuff all the time, but everyone's different. Everyone got a different reason or excuse why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so that's always fun. And then, of course, my face it doesn't help people as far as some of my older patients with, "You look so young, you look like a baby." And so going through that stuff, but it's a very rewarding, fun field. And I love being in the outpatient setting. I do not like being in a hospital. If you want to see Macy sad, put me in a hospital.
I think it's really cool that you appreciate that opportunity to connect with your clientele. Other professions, if you're in surgery, you're probably just, treating the patient in front of you and you move on to the next one and the next one. The patient may not even know who performed the surgery on them. They may not even meet the surgeon. But in your case, you're able to build that relationship and continue to provide that quality health care. And there are a lot of parallels between what you do and what we do. It's the primary reason why I love being a financial planner. It'd be kind of easy, in my opinion, to be a broker. You're sitting behind several screens looking at candle charts, trying to make or squeeze a few extra dollars out of a trade or something like that. And you're not client facing. But I think the best part about being in finance, of all the different things you could do in this field, is the personal interaction that you have with clients. You see them grow from, maybe a negative net worth because of student loan debt to $250,000, $500,000. They've achieved their goal. The kids are going to college. The homes are being purchased. The vacations are being taken. And you've played an integral part in making sure that all of that happens in the most efficient way possible. So yeah, I really like the parallels between us being able to bond with our clients and grow with them. So that's cool. All right. We're getting to my favorite part of the show. So you think you're smarter than a rhino? This is the part everybody loves. This is an opportunity. I just want to say this. This is an opportunity for learning. All right. We're not here to make folks look any kind of way. We are here for our audience to make sure that they are increasing their financial literacy and IQ. So I just want to preface this segment with that. Yes. Are you ready? Are you prepared?
I am ready.
All right. As prepared as you're going to be. Good. The first question is, what are the 5 factors that make up the credit score?
Okay. The amount of debt you have. Um, I mean, credit, how many accounts you have open. Your payment, like how your payment, how a lot of times you pay on time.
Yep.
What'd you say?
Payment history. Yep.
Yeah, payment history. How long you've had stuff open. So what I'm at 3.
Yep.
Debt. How long you have stuff open. Oh, what they get you for every time if you open something new.
Inquiries.
Yeah. So inquiries, and then
I actually think you said all 5.
oh, okay. Yeah.
First one you said how much debt, which is utilization, and then you said the kinds of credit.
Yeah.
So all right, yeah. Boom. First question down. So for our audience, utilization. All right. If you have $100,000 across the various lines of credit and you have balances of $30,000, then you've utilized 30% of your overall credit limit. So utilization is a major factor in calculating your credit score. Then you have kinds of credit. Do you just have credit cards, which are revolving lines of credit, or do you also have loans, which are installment types of credit? And in those loans, do you have a mortgage, or is it just personal loans and student loans? So the kinds of credit that make up that profile play a significant part in compiling or creating that credit score. Payment history. Are you paying on time? Every time, right? That one's kind of length of history. Younger folks are going to get a ding on this, but if you open a credit card or if you start building your credit at 18, the older you get, the stronger the score becomes because future creditors want to see that you have a long history of making those payments on time and engaging in various lines of credit. And then the last one is inquiries. Are you constantly using your credit? If so, what are you using your credit on? Who are you allowing to pull your credit score as they start to review you as a potential borrower? So inquiries would be that 5th one. So, yep, A+ on the first question. Question number 2, what is the average down payment amount on a primary residence as a percentage?
Is it 10?
It is not 10.
Oh, is it 20?
It is 20%.
Dang it. Okay.
20% for a conventional loan is the average amount of money that's put down in order to acquire a primary residence, and that's primarily due to private mortgage insurance, or PMI. In order to avoid having to pay PMI, you have to put down at least 20% on the home. All right.
I'm doing pretty good.
I think so. Number 3. The difference between being rich and being wealthy, in your own words.
Okay, so I should know this answer.
There is a right-on definition that we're going to give, but yeah.
So rich is measured by money, kind of, sort of, based on what I have watched a video on. And being wealthy is measured by time, but maybe I got that wrong. No, maybe I got it. Did I get it backwards?
Don't sound yourself. That is correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Being rich is measured in money. So if you make $250,000 a year, but you have $300,000 a year worth of expenses, you're still considered rich, but you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're having to take out loans in order to maintain your lifestyle. It's just not a good place to be. You make a bunch of money, but you're spending all of it. Versus being wealthy, you can make $50,000 a year, but your expenses are $50,000 a year in passive income, but your expenses are $50,000 a year or less, which means you no longer have to trade your time for money, because the way your money is coming in, you're no longer trading your time for money. It's coming in passively. So maybe you have rental properties, Maybe you're taking distributions on securities that you've purchased, whatever the situation is. As long as you're no longer trading your time for money, then you are considered wealthy. Rich people still have to trade their time for money in order to make that income. So, yeah, that is correct. Good job. Next question. How is your net worth calculated?
I would say it would be like based on all of your, I would say like your assets and properties and all those things over your debts and stuff. Like, what do you owe? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Assets minus your liabilities. Everything that you own minus everything that you owe. So it is possible to have a negative net worth. If you don't own anything except for a car with a little bit of equity in it, and you owe hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, then your net worth could be negative, and in that case would be negative. So yeah, my job here, the number one metric that we use to measure success is someone's net worth. We're not too concerned about their income. We're not too concerned about their credit score. We're not too concerned about a bunch of other things that other people may be concerned about. We're trying to increase that net worth as much as possible so that you can achieve wealth. So yeah, what you own minus what you owe is how you calculate net worth. You're on a roll.
I know.
Holding it down for the medical professionals. That's really cool.
Trying, y'all. I'm trying.
Next question. What is one example of an employer-sponsored retirement plan?
403B.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay.
403B. Try to whisper.
With 200.
Yeah, 200, Alex. Yes, 403B is one example of an employer-sponsored retirement plan. The most common is the 401k. Yep. For people that are in certain industries, you have a 403B, you have a 457, you have a SEP IRA, and then those really round out the employer-sponsored plan. Not employer-sponsored plan examples would be an IRA or an individual retirement account that you could go to any provider, your local bank, and open one up. So, yep, 403B is one example of an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Last question. What does RHINO as an acronym stand for?
So I'm going to get this right because part of my job is to do research.
Awesome.
Real education, investments and performing assets, no bad debt, oversight of these assets.
Absolutely correct. 100% correct. You're killing it. We want everybody to understand the importance of education and a real education because, one, reading is fundamental, but you got to make sure you're reading the right stuff because unfortunately there are things out there that are written by people who have ulterior motives and are just trying to sell you something versus trying to educate you and increase your financial literacy and IQ with applicable information that you can go out and use immediately. And so that's what we do here at RHINO Invest. When people become a RHINO by subscribing and opening a Club RHINO Plus account, they are choosing to invest some time in real financial education. With the 4 courses that we currently have in there, we have an entrepreneurial personal finance course, which teaches people how to treat their personal finances like an entrepreneur would. So it's not just for entrepreneurs, it's treating people in various professions how to treat their personal finances like an entrepreneur, as well as real estate investing. If you are interested in becoming a real estate investor, we have something for you. If you're wanting to be an entrepreneur or a business owner, we have a start a business course. And then we have secure your securities, which is the most popular asset class. Not to be confused with the number one asset class, just the most popular one, securities, because it has the lowest barriers to entry. So if you're interested in how we recommend people invest in securities or in the stock market, we have a course for you. And then really understanding the difference between an asset and a performing asset. So if you've read Robert Kiyosaki, have you read Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad author?
Don't fuss at me now.
Highly encourage you.
I know, remember her name.
Highly encourage you to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. It's a great book.
I have the book though. 2 points now.
Half a point. Half
Okay.
a point for just having it. Now let's open that thing up and collect that knowledge. But
Look.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki talks about the difference between an asset and a liability. He would say that your primary residence is a liability because it costs you money. If you have a mortgage, you have to pay that out of your pocket. You'll always have to pay taxes and insurance. So it's a liability because it's money coming out of your pocket. We still classify it as an asset. It's just not performing because it has equity. So on your balance sheet, it sits there on both sides. If the fair market value is $300,000 and you have a mortgage of $250,000, you have $50,000 worth of equity contributing positively towards your net worth. So it's still an asset, but it's not performing. It's not providing you with cash flow. So understanding those differences between an asset and a performing asset is critical in achieving a higher net worth so that she can become wealthy. And then getting out of bad debt. The number one bad debt for people in your profession, do you want to take a guess what the number one bad debt is?
Student loans.
Student loans. Got to get rid of them. Knock them out, as quickly as possible. If there are programs like the one you're engaged in where if you go work for a certain type of employer, they pay it off, that's great. Incorporate that into the plan. But if you're not in a profession that provides opportunities like that, knock out your student loans. In terms of credit cards, highly encourage you to use them, but never carry a balance. Always pay it off in full. So you want to get rid of that bad debt. And then there are things that are considered good debt, like mortgages on performing assets. So not a mortgage on your primary residence. I understand the necessity for one, but that is still considered to be a bad debt. But a mortgage on an investment property where someone else is paying you rent and that rent amount is paying the mortgage, that would be considered a good debt. And then oversight of all of that. You got to have oversight. You got to know what you've just done so that you can continue to maintain it and grow. So that's Rhino. That's what Rhino stands for. That's what we do here at Rhino Invest. We encourage folks to open a Club Rhino Plus account so that they can receive real education, so that they can invest in performing assets, so that they can get out of that bad debt, and so that they can know how to manage and provide oversight of that portfolio. We thank you for playing, Dr. McNair.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thank you for sharing all your knowledge and your experience with our audience. There are a lot of good nuggets that they have here that they can take away and do great things with. And until next time, we appreciate it.
You're welcome.